Look who's alive and well in this game is Tfue and Cloak. And they're just doing what they do best, holding that high ground.
It's that high ground. If you guys been watching Tfue and Cloak, you know they like to land at the block. So it looks like if they have a junction ending, it's a lot of favoritism to them as far as the zone goes. So this is going to play in their favor big time here. As you can see, they're also loaded on materials for what it's worth. They have zone. They're big chilling back here. This is a good situation for these guys right now. And normally when they're in these situations, they tend to bring it on home. So we'll see if they can kind of seal the deal as long as they don't make any mistakes here. As Cloak is now pelting players out the sky here with that tactical ARs. Got a very tight crosshair on that weapon. It's got a super fast first shot accuracy, but it's one of the weapons that you don't necessarily need to depend on first shot accuracy. You can actually just spray down with it at longer ranges.
Check it out, man. A supply drop drops to the right. The question is, do they go for it or do they use it as a bait, right? You could just leave it out there and say, hey, anyone want to come pick this up? I mean, Protect there, unfortunately not protected enough. Just going to get traded out. It's going to fall down to the storm. Now, they have not looked over at the supply drops as possible. It's still there. You can see it on the mini-map. But, I mean, listen, you could find a potential rocket launcher in there. You could find some materials, some rotationary tools.
Hey, you know, you never know. And here it is in 3, 2, 1. Q times are closed, Zeke.
That's it. That's it. So, again, this is it. If players, let's say right now, in this moment, this Tfue goes down, he cannot re-queue. The queue times are closed. And then we have like this little extra 30 minutes-ish just to make sure players can wrap up those games, get those last few eliminations in, and then that's it. We'll take a look at the standings, finalize, and be punching some tickets. But
I mean, we saw early in the EU region, it couldn't have went any better for Team Solari as 4 of their players literally in the final moments and last game queued up and all qualified for World Cup.
That's been a big deal. That's a very big deal.
I was just going to say, Kinstar came from like the second page.
Right.
He was out of top 10 for most of the day and just came swinging hard. 2 games back-to-back, caught a last-minute queue, put him in the game, put him in the running, and now he's going to New York City. But hopping over with Tfue and Cloak, it's a little bit of a battle. They turned their back for just a second there and lost the high ground, but CLOAKZY is pickaxing away over in the distance. Only 1 player, so you notice Tfue's not too afraid of him. He's actually going to put some pressure down. He's not too worried about doubling back. It's E11 Joseph. So he needs to get the teammate here, who's Anthony. Anthony's left by himself. Great stinker. Little do they know, Anthony has no health. That's going to be Elam for them as the storm wraps things up for them.
So that's funny, man. Now they picked up a bunch of eliminations along the way. They were started double zeros, goose eggs across the board, and now they've racked up the 4. We just hit top 10.
Oh my
Don't
gosh.
thirst. Cloak, he said, don't thirst me.
Why you thirst, man?
Why you thirsting? Now, look, check it out. 13 players, 9 duels. We've hit top 15, hit top 10. Top 5 is that next threshold. And this lobby is dwindling right now.
Yes, they are destroying these players right now as Tfue is putting down fire, or Cloak was putting down fire. Tfue's connecting up the tarp here, making sure that they're nice and safe and sound in the high ground. Tfue also has a rift to go, so they are not afraid at all to hold this positioning here. Nice combat takeout so he can make the most, not depending on the bloom, but instead putting that combat to use, because this is good range to use the combat. You can get some serious damage in here. Again, Tfue using the builds to make sure they are safe while CLOAKZY is continuously staying on offense here, Zeke.
That's so awesome to see, because it just gives you that extra little bit of protection that you need, and it gives you a little more time to react, because the moment someone starts shooting that out, you're like, oh, okay, they're trying to bring us down, you can react to it. But now look down below, it's just shooting fish in a barrel. Dopey's there, Slobbings gets knocked down, Red Ninja's also down below. And Cloak and Tfue are doing exactly what they do best, man, maintaining that high ground, waiting for people to make mistakes, isolating and capitalizing on these mistakes.
That's right. Cloak making sure there's 1 less person to worry about as he is working his way down. He leaves Tfue in the sky because Tfue has bandages and rifts, but they don't want to leave any eliminations on the board. CLOAKZY closes out the deal right there. I see that. Nice clean dub, and I called it at the start. When you get zone like that, and I knew they had zone, and they've been playing off that block area, with the amount of resource they have, they don't lose those end games.
Right, exactly.
They're one of the better teams at holding high ground. You already have your builds out, basically, or you're moving, so you can dodge a shot. But when you're healing like that, if your teammate's not holding wall down, these guys will spot you out and take you out.
Yeah.
It's just a play these competitive players make. But Cease and Elevate 74 points right now. We know they're somewhere in that top 10. They've been on the top 10. They've been practically #1 all weekend long. So let's see if they can continue to keep up this reign here as they're fighting for one of the 3 slots from the East region here.
Listen, it could very well be the time for the 100 Thieves duo of Cease and Elevate. We already know they're doing fantastic, but we won't know until that final queue time. Those final standings are shown. But who knows? It could be their day, Monster. There's still a lot of players left in this current lobby. We still have plenty of, probably a few more games to take a look at. And again, observers are just showing off with these dope shots. Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Again, observers, send love their way. They really do appreciate it. Blue pump's gonna be sent down there. Unfortunately, vaulted back to the lobby.
Vaulted back to the lobby.
You like that one?
Yeah, that was clever. That was
There you
clever.
go.
But don't forget, guys. These guys
let's take a moment.
Yeah, these guys are fighting for placement as well as the elimination. So you can see up in the left-hand corner, 14 duos remain. So that means they already earned placement points for 11 through 15. And they can earn placement all the way up to about 5th, and then you need to get that victory royale. So at the very least, you want to get to 15th place. At that point, most teams tend to start to kind of turn up after you get that first little threshold of placement. Makes your game worth it.
Man, look.
And they find some more.
They need to. They really do. And I'm sure they will. So that's like the thing, right, is oftentimes you might see a duo kind of heading into that late game. Maybe they have no eliminations. Maybe they have a handful. That's kind of when they come alive, exactly like you said, right? Because you're just waiting. You're waiting for players to make mistakes, like rotate late, like this. These players have their backs to the storm. They're just trying to get back into the zone. They're trying to get back to safety. And Cease and Elevate, they just immediately take advantage of that and say, no. You are our point here. We're going to go ahead and eliminate you. We see players.
Sneaks him from behind. Heretics P. God comes in with the drum gun. Barely any ammunition and bursts down both of these guys unexpectedly. So he gave up the high ground for 3 elims. I call that worth it. A nice little cone play right there by Heretics, who keeps Cease actually off of the high ground, but Cease pushes straight through, challenges him. And it's Rampage who gets the knock on Elevate. So this is a close one. As Heretics' teammate Rampage clutches up, but P-God goes down to the likes of Cease. So it was a 1v1 trade-off. Now that's it. It's a 1v1 right here, Zeke.
Rampage, this is a tall order, but look, he's got the health advantage. Basically 100 more HP than his counterpart there in Cease. But look at the shot, immediately bringing down, equalizing that great angle there. He's going to keep this pressure on Monster. He needs to try and close this up. Now Rampage forced to use that smoke bomb. He's going to try and go for a cheeky play, but this is Cease we're talking about. This is not someone you can just pull the wool over his eyes. He's well aware of what you're trying to do. Take a look. He's trying to send shots up there, Monster. Nothing is connected yet. But for Cease, he's trading back those shots. He's saying, please expose yourself for a single moment. The health is almost equalized. This could go either way, Monster.
This could go either way. Right here. He's trying to get his health pool up so he can get an advantage and evade Rampage. Makes a super big mistake popping off that shadow. That means that Cease clearly knows that he cannot defend himself. He can't build anymore. Just like that, he throws a couple random shots down in that tight cone area, wins that trade out. Cease with a huge win right there.
There you go, man.
That was a four-point elim right there. Because
as I had mentioned, we just concluded NA East, and we have an opportunity to talk with 2 of the players that have qualified. So joining us here, and Bala, who just conveniently was right behind me the entire time, we got the boys from 100 Thieves. We got Cease and Elevate. Congratulations, guys. I mean, I can't imagine how this must feel, because you've been at this for a super long time. You fell short one time, I believe, and I know that must have been a heartbreaker, but did you feel like you had it in the bag? Did you ever feel like you were in a spot where you may not have found yourself qualifying? Were you always confident?
I think we were always qualifying. I think after 2 weeks ago, we had a chip on our shoulder and really studied some other players. And then after yesterday, we just had such a confidence boost. So I knew today was the day.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I've had the opportunity to cast your victory at WSOE. You guys were incredible there. And I remember everyone's like, flash in the pan. It ain't going to happen again. But you could have just gotten so much better since then. What have you really, like, I guess, have learned as a duo from WSOE all the way to this point where you're going to go to New York City and play for $30 million? What were some of the lessons you've learned, Cease?
So I think like at WSOE, we like leading up to the event, we played mid-ground very well, and that's like all we focused on. Coming towards World Cup, we started to go for more high ground plays, and then watching a lot of the EU players, actually Stompy and Chinkin. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, but yeah,
I don't even think
played,
he knows how to say the name, so it's all good. I'm messing around.
We played mid to low ground extremely well, like just clearing out all the layers down if they couldn't take height, and so just like attempting to master like how they play is what I feel like carried us a lot. Already being good on mid ground, just like wiping down low.
So guys, talk to me about trust. You guys are one of the most tight-knit duos that I've ever seen. And Elevate, you tweeted right before the results were confirmed, Cease is nuts. I mean, talk to me about trust between you guys. You guys have had quite a journey.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just been built up over time, you know. Whenever one of us is low, I never feel like we're out of a fight or something's, like, bad. Like, anytime there's a fight going on, like, we've played so much together, I just always know where Cease is. And even if we trade shots with one person, we're both low, like, I'm taking that fight because I just know if I'm getting sprayed, if I'm low, Cease is right there. He's a madman, and he can just kill anyone instantly. So there's just a lot of trust in our fights and our calls. We switched to, like, both calling, which was something I used to mainly call before. And it just opened up a lot of opportunity for us, just because, like, now I could focus more on fragging. So for me, it's just, like, there's so much trust between us right now, like, with how we play and stuff. It's amazing. I've never, like, we've kind of, like, elevated our game, pun intended.
Come on, man. All right, interview done. I'm out of here.